Bubba Wallace went completely insane at the previous NASCAR race in Los Angeles when he nearly cost Kyle Larson his life, mindlessly rear-ending him for no good reason whatsoever. This reckless behavior completely enraged Larson, who nevertheless stepped away from engaging Wallace in a showdown that looked more like a boxing ring than a racetrack. But it's not just Larson who had harsh words towards Wallace, as many other high-profile drivers were absolutely furious with Bubba for the insanely dangerous driving and childishly not admitting his own fault. And essentially, everybody disagrees with Wallace only receiving a one-race suspension, with many drivers calling for much harsher penalties from the NASCAR officials. Want to know what harsh words and clear warnings drivers including Denny Hamlin, Joey Logano, or Daniel Suarez had for the suspended Wallace? Stick around and prepare to be shocked. Oh, and just before we get into it, there's a big chance you can win $100 from us at NASCAR Culture, but more on that later in the video. Now, back to the Vegas fiasco. The drivers who were furious with Wallace are absolutely right, because this kind of behavior has no place in NASCAR. The big shame is that Bubba didn't see anything wrong and blamed the whole incident on Larson, who at worst just made a slightly more aggressive racing move, but he didn't intend to kill anyone on the track like Wallace almost did. Larson crew chief Cliff Daniels accused Wallace of making a vindictive move to endanger all drivers on the track, and Bubba gave a very cheeky response where he shamelessly blamed Larson for everything, and believe it or not, he was pissed because of the whole incident. Cliff's smart enough to know how easily these cars break, so when you get shoved into the fence, deliberately like he did, trying to force me to lift, the steering was gone. Just so happened to be there. Hate it for our team. Super fast car, had no short run speed as you were seeing, we were kind of falling there. Larson wanted to make it a 3-wide dive bomb. When Wallace was asked in an interview after the race whether retaliation is acceptable at the speed at which NASCAR vehicles are moving, he was even more rude and only responded by saying, "Stop fishing, stop fishing." Wallace obviously didn't think about what he could do with this move, and all NASCAR drivers have a right to hate him. Special praise should be given to the reaction of Larson, who did not respond to the rude behavior of Bubba. Some of the other drivers would probably have hit back at Wallace, who was lucky to run into a weaker one. We can also call it a great shame that he decided to physically exert himself over someone who was much weaker than him. Wallace was completely unjustifiably angry, and the whole incident was actually his fault. He was also furious with his Toyota teammate, Christopher Bell, a playoff driver who drove a great race at Charlotte Roval, because he ended up being the victim of an incident that caused Bubba to go crazy, but somehow managed to hold back after a race that he was ruined by Wallace. He was completely honest about what happened on the track and blamed it all on Bubba. Bubba got run into the wall, and then he retaliated on Larson and wiped us out. Bubba later apologized to him, but that doesn't give him any comfort. Denny Hamlin, the legendary NASCAR driver, together with Michael Jordan, co-owner of the team for which Bubba Wallace drives, is disappointed with the behavior of this driver and fully supports the decision of NASCAR, which punished Wallace with a one-race suspension. Hamlin is in contention for the championship title, but has always been known as a fair driver and therefore condemned Bubba's behavior during and after the race. It's not a good look for our team, but he's got to learn. I truly believe if he had to do it all over again, he'd do it different. I gave him the benefit of the doubt. But Hamlin believes that Wallace misjudged the situation on the Las Vegas track and that he only harmed his team, created a bad reputation for it, and embarrassed it. Larson did get close to Wallace and pushed him against the wall, but Hamlin justifies it by saying that NASCAR cars have a strange air bumper that you pull someone into and it just kind of pushes your car up. Hamlin understands that Wallace is angry, but thinks that he acted very irresponsibly without thinking that he was harming himself and others. Hamlin is aware that this incident will follow Wallace throughout his career and that fans will remember him for this brazen act much more than for his good performances on the track. Wallace really turned out to be incredibly stupid and deserves all the condemnation from both the fans and the other drivers in NASCAR. It's a shame because people aren't going to focus on how much better of a driver he has gotten through the year. They're going to focus on this one incident, this 1 millisecond in time that he made a bad decision, concluded the legendary 23XI team owner. In that millisecond, Wallace behaved very rudely and the co-owner deserved nothing better than condemnation. Bubba is improving as a driver year after year, but no one will remember it because of the stupid things he does. He likes to be the center of attention, but he does it in the wrong way. He should be happy no one got hurt in Las Vegas. In Las Vegas, he should have competed with Larson on the track and shown all his talent, not playing Conor McGregor. Maybe he'll wise up when he runs into someone like him who will put him in the right place so he'll never think of behaving the way he did in Las Vegas. Joey Logano believes NASCAR sent a strong message by suspending Bubba Wallace that it will not tolerate rude behavior. Yeah, I would say NASCAR has sent a message. Yeah, I would. Logano, unlike Bubba Wallace, is a very experienced driver and believes that everyone has the right to make a mistake. but that what Wallace did was very reckless because with that move, he endangered the lives of people on the track. Maybe Wallace isn't that experienced a driver, but that's no excuse for him to run wild on the track and act like a psychopath. In life, what kind of person is more important than what kind of driver? A move made by Wallace that wrecked another driver at 200 miles an hour can only be supported by a truly bad man who has no shame. I mean, there is a line between boys have at it and we've gone way too far, right? No stranger himself to on and off track disputes. Like, it's one thing that, someone knocks you out of the way, you knock them back out of the way. Okay, that's one thing. It's different if someone, pushes you up a little bit and then you right rear hook them into the wall at 180 miles an hour. That's a different story. So there's a line. How furious Logano is about what Wallace did on the Las Vegas track is best shown by his message to Bubba, where he mentioned that what would have happened if Wallace had attacked him instead of Larson. Wallace would not have had the best time and should thank God that he got into a conflict with Larson. Wallace doesn't have to justify himself because everyone saw what a fool he turned out to be in Las Vegas. It's kind of all in front of us. We all see, Logano said. I'm not looking for anything. He didn't do it to me. If he did it to me, yeah, we'd have big problems. Just as a father and mother raise their children, so should NASCAR raise its own drivers. Punish them in exactly the same way they punished Wallace, if not more severely, because this kind of behavior is absolutely reprehensible. Like Hamlin and Logano, Logano's Team Penske teammate Ryan Blaney does not think well of what Bubba did and fully supports the decision to punish Wallace. According to him, it would be a real shame if NASCAR did not react to this kind of behavior because that is their task, to make it known how they can and cannot behave on the track. I personally think it's good that NASCAR is putting the law down, right? Like laying the hammer down on things they think are wrong. I mean, that's the only way you can kind of police it, right? You have to do these things, and at the end of the day, it's their call. They see something that they don't like, I expect them to act on it, and they have the last couple of weeks. Daniel Suarez, the number 99 Trackhouse racing driver, also supports NASCAR's decision to penalize Wallace because he thinks it was incredibly stupid at the Las Vegas track and would be very surprised if NASCAR didn't penalize Bubba. He really wonders what was going through Wallace's mind at that moment that he could kill people on the track because of his spoiledness. In my opinion, those moves were extremely dumb. I was going to be extremely surprised if they were not penalties. You have to be smarter. I don't know what those guys were thinking. He would have never acted in such a manner and is really glad that NASCAR punished Wallace's extremely stupid move. Wrecking somebody in the way that happened last week is just not smart, especially with everything that is happening right now. So honestly, I'm glad that NASCAR stepped in and they were able to put everyone in their places because it was too much. Wallace really crossed the line, and the big question is whether he will learn anything from this situation and whether he is truly remorseful, as it can quite easily just be a play for the media. But we want to know what you guys think. Is the one race ban the right decision from NASCAR? Is it too soft? Is it too harsh? And what do you personally make of Bubba Wallace? Let us know in the comments down below. As I hinted at the beginning of the video, we're currently giving away 2 $50 Amazon gift cards to the fans of NASCAR culture. All you need to do to enter is like, comment what you think of Bubba Wallace, and most importantly, subscribe. I'll be selecting 2 random winners from the NASCAR culture subscriber list once I reach 1,000 subscribers. So make sure to share this with your fellow racing fans so you increase your chances of winning sooner.